hey, cheers. I just wanted to talk a few moments about this record, um, Stygian Crown. Um, I wanted to say a few things about this record, but I just didn't want to type a lot of stuff, buddy. Okay, so this record is killer. Little disclaimer, Melissa, the singer of this band, I know Melissa. I've known her for a long time now, and I've always been a fan of her vocals and you know, the way she sings, her phrasings and stuff. And we've done music together, and some of that stuff is still some of my favorite recordings. So, just a little disclaimer: I might be a little biased when it comes to that, but having said all that, you don't have to be biased to like this record, man. I freaking the record is killer. It sounds live, man. It's like, I mean, it sounds like a tank. Like the kick drums and the guitars and the bass they just roll. The vinyl, I mean, look, if you're a vinyl head like me, you know what I'm talking about. It just sounds like a tank rolling. It's so killer, man. And her vocals are just, they're just so powerful, and they're so up front. But anyway, it's I mean, the songs, the ones I've heard from the EP were killer, but the beginning of the record, I hadn't heard those couple of songs. And that first one, man, that Devour the Dead, I think, man, that's one of my favorites. And then it goes on, and the end of the record too is a highlight for me, because I Trampled Into the Earth was like one of my favorite songs on the EP. When I heard that song, I was like, man, this is gonna be a killer band, you know. And so I love the way the record ends with that, and that 2 Coins for the Ferryman. That's kind of taken my almost second place. It's pulling for first place in my favorite songs on the record. But anyway, man, the whole thing just sounds top notch, man. Like the production is, I mean, at least for the vinyl. Now, I listened to the disc too, because there's a song that is not on the vinyl that is on the disc, and but don't let that discourage you from picking up the vinyl, because, man, the vinyl sounds so live. It sounds like you're sitting in a little medium-sized hall, like empty, and just watching this band play. It just sounds like they're just right there in your face. The sound is great, man. And I haven't read any of the reviews or anything from the record. I remember Melissa told me, somebody said that the snare the snare sounded like Saint Anger, Metallica. I'm like, what? But like when I listen to it, man, that's ridiculous. It sounds, I mean, okay, like I've listened to the disc too, because I wanted to listen to the other song. I listened to the whole thing through on the disc because I wanted to hear the difference. And the snare might sound like a little bit thinner on the vinyl, but it needs to sound that way on the vinyl, because the rest of it is just like I said, like a tank, man. And it needs to be back there just cutting through. And I mean, I didn't hear a problem with it at all, man. I mean, I thought the production was great. The guitar sound is killer. The tone it's so low endy and badass. It just reminds me of yeah, I mean, you know, it reminds you of Sabbath and all that. I know it's doom. To me, you know, I don't get too much into the subgenres of music or anything, but it's just, dude, if you like slow driving melodic metal, man, with old schools, I mean, the guitar sounds so old school, man. They're just so loose and just jamming, and the guitar solos are like, they remind me of like 70s like hard rock guitar solos, you know. It sounds like that, you know, a little Tony Iommi in there, you know. Just cool. I mean, this is the way it should sound. I mean, it's badass. I love it. And the disc, I mean, it still has that same feel. I mean, it still sounds like a rolling, you know, tank. You know, it's a little crisper on the disc, of course, but anything constructive I might have to say about it, I think for the vinyl, man, nothing against Flame Tongue, that song, but I think that the one that's on the disc, the When Old Gods Die, I think that's the name of it. Man, dude, I think that would have been the perfect side B if you had to cut one, you know. I think that because those three together just end the album so killer, man. Just it's so heavy and perfect. But I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound biased, even though I do sound biased. But you know, I mean, you know, Melissa being on it, of course, added a little extra level of excitement for me because I wanted to hear what she did, you know. But just listening to it objectively, man, it's killer, dude. I mean, if I was describing the singer, if I didn't know the singer, you know, I would just say she's a powerful, I mean, every note is purposeful, and the phrasing of the vocals, I love it. I love the way that she phrases things. It reminds me of a 80s tint in there for sure. I mean, you can hear Bruce Dickinson in there. To me, I the most that it reminds me of is like John Arch. That's what the vocals remind me of. I love that old Fates Warning. You know, it's got a little bit of that music. You know, the music on this record's a little bit like that too. But the vocals remind me of John Arch. You know, that's the way I would describe the singer if I didn't know her. But anyway. So sorry to ramble. I don't want to ramble too much because I got a little buzz going. I'm not gonna lie to you, but go out and pick up this record, man. Stygian Crown. You can find them at bandcamp.com. Stygian Crown, bandcamp.com. Pick it up, man. However you check out music, I mean, get the vinyl. I recommend it. I mean, if you're a vinyl head like I am, this is one you want to get, dude, because it sounds live in your face, man. It's just freaking killer. And I think one more thing before I get out of here, if I'm going to say anything else constructive about this record, I would say, man, more harmonies on the vocals, because there's not a lot of harmonies on this record, but when they come in, they just they take it to another level. You know, every time. I mean, every time the harmonies come in, they're so well placed, man. I would say, just a selfish, you know, suggestion of mine, I would add more harmonies on the vocals, and on the next record, just go crazy because, man, I love it, dude. Congrats on a great album. Forgive me, I don't know anybody else in the band personally, but cheers to you guys, man. Congratulations on a fantastic album, man. I mean, it's killer, dude. I mean, you should be proud of it. I'm proud of it for you, man. It's great. I love it, dude. So cheers and congratulations, Stygian Crown. Go check them out, everybody. Hey now.